Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 111. It's a true Nelson this week and I have been sliding downhill towards Christmas. Not being lazy, I've done loads and loads of work around the house, including starting and making a very good attempt to start at tidying up the attic, which in a previous vlog I showed just what a state it was. I've made a load of progress this week and along with other things. But I have done some hobbying and that is what is going to be in this video. I really hope you enjoy it. As you can see, I'm definitely getting in the festive mood, and a lot of the hobbying this week is not going to appear in this vlog because it is for my special Christmas Eve video, which I'm very excited about. I've now finished the build and that will be coming out on Christmas Eve, so please do look out for that and enjoy it if you do. But for now, enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments what you think. I always love to read all of your comments and I always do reply to every single one of them, so don't be shy, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you again at the end. Now we come to the last step for this very simple quick tree, and this involves flock. I might make myself into a liar and do some static grass as well. It's been a while since I've played with static grass, but I might not. You'll find out that if I do it or not. So it's a very similar technique to how we applied the dirt colour. This is a watered down PVA mixed with a little bit of washing up liquid or dish soap, depending on which side of the pond you live, and literally you apply it like that, and then in the same way as we did for the sand, though this time I use my fingers, you just scatter it over, and if with a small bit item like this, you can literally hold it over the top of your container, and that prevents any waste and any losses. So I always do at least 2 colours or 2 shades. I always do at least a darker and a lighter. Often I'll do 3 shades, so often I'll actually do dark, middle and light, but for this I'm just going to do 2. And then when that's dried, what I'll do is I'll come along and I'll seal it again with more of the same watered down PVA, and then it'll be done. So yeah, really good, really pleased to have done this. Hate waste. This is going to be a cool little thing to go on a tabletop. Very, very quickly done. Taking me about less than 10 minutes in total of effort. So yeah, I will let that dry, seal it, and then that's that project done. So one thing that is cool with Angela doing the art that she does is that when she gets her art paper delivered, it comes with ginormous flat double corrugated cardboard like this, and I've been staring at this tree. I've fixed it. The damage, the bad printing is fixed up, and I'm thinking that I want to do something a bit more impressive than just paint it and put it on a small base. Originally I was going to put it onto the base like that out of MDF, just sit it in the middle, but that's a little bit dull. So I'm going to turn it into something a bit more dramatic, as is my wont. So if you've watched my video on how to fix a bad warp, you'll recognise a lot of techniques I'm going to use here. I'll be building it on this big cardboard. It won't be the whole of the cardboard. I will make it into an odd shape, and I'll be using weights to keep any warp or whatever out of the cardboard and make sure that it stays completely flat. And as I build more and more things onto it, the warping becomes less of an issue. So the first stage is going to be quite a bit of some modelling compound and some foam. So the first stage is going to be building up the basic terrain, and then modelling compound over the top, and all of that will need to be really heavily weighted down, and then it'll be a case of putting on my scenery like I always do. So sand and gravel, sand and paint even, and then put the flock and the static grasses and whatever else I'm going to do onto it. So before I start that, I need to do some sketching, because I'm going to roughly sketch out what I want. And my idea is basically to have this as quite a nice centerpiece terrain, which will have the scary spooky tree as its centerpiece, and that will be up. And I would like to have like a winding path, or maybe even a circular path. And I'm kind of thinking that it's probably going to be a graveyard. So the idea will be that we will have a fence that's going to go around the graveyard, which will potentially have a couple of gates in it. And you can see that I'm leaving this gap around the edge so that I can weight it down and make sure there's no warp. And so what we'll probably have is I'll probably put a fence around the edge of this and have access, official access on the middle of each half. And I will come and do this properly with a measuring once I've worked out my idea. So yes. And then this will be a stone wall, and I'll be able to have that tumble down in area, so you'll still be, this is a playable piece, so you'll still be able to get in. So it's not going to be limited to these access points. And then what probably I'll do is have paths going from each of the official gates, like this. Okay. And then have this in the middle, and I mean it could even be quite flat. I might not even go very 3D. And then I can have plots here, I have a gravel path, and have that tree in the middle. So that's roughly the plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put these kind of like slightly raised up. I'm probably going to have the wall on the top. I might bevel it down a little bit past there, just so that it's like it looks like a ramp up. Over here, that's quite common where I live in Bulgaria, where you'll have a mound with the wall on top, and then the entrance can be lower, so it will go down there to the entrance and back up again. So I'm going to just work that out. I'm going to work out whether I'm going to do it all with modelling compound or whether I'm going to do some foam. And once I've got to that and got that all planned, I'll bring it back, show you what I'm going to do, and then we'll start to get it built. And I think this attempt has finally worked. It's taken about 10 hours, as you can see the print, pretty much all day. And I will pop a picture up on the screen now of just how close I came to running out of resin on this, which would have been an absolute nightmare if I'd have done that after all this effort. But I think you can see there that it does look like the print has succeeded. So I'm going to take that off and clean it up. It's got very heavy supports because I just went completely overboard. Oh, kicked the camera, apologies. Yeah, very heavy supports. I went very overboard, so it's going to be a real pain in the whatevers to clean up. But hopefully it's printed okay, and I'll be able to make something out of it to go onto the Christmas table. So yeah, finally. So I've measured and drawn up the boundary of this. I might extend it a little more this way, but I'm not sure if I will. But what I've done is I've measured up so it is 60 across and 27.5 deep. And I was actually not too far off with my wild sketch, which is quite nice. On this side, it was almost exactly in line with where I wanted it to be. And what I've done is I've measured up so that the gate can be 10 centimetres wide. And then I've measured that up for the centre of each of the sides. And I've created a template just with a bit of pizza box that is going to fit here, and then on the other side, and then on the other side, and then on the other side. So that's the template. So it'll be a really nice plan that will be totally and utterly symmetrical. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some foam. I'm going to do this with foam, I've decided I am. I'm going to get some foam, some blue foam, and I'm going to cut out 4 templates like this. So I'll be able to use the hot wire cutter. I'll be able to tape this down and then cut along that corner and get a nice even cut, and then I will bevel the edge so that it goes down to where the path is going to go. I'm still undecided whether I want this to be at the ground level or lifted. I think at the ground level. I might change my mind, but at the moment at the ground level. And what I am going to do is extend this very slightly probably. I'll probably cut this a little bit bigger at the edges, so extend it out very slightly, because I want to bevel the bank as well, I think. So I'm going to get myself some blue foam and start getting that cutting. I'll bring you along, show you how that works, and then we'll get it glued down and we'll have made a really good start. So you can see I've got my template and I've just taped it along one edge to this blue foam, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out around the size. So I might get in the way of the camera. If I do, apologies, but I've just done this once, so it did work the first time, so hopefully it's going to work now the camera's running. So one of the problems I've got is I cut the template out using scissors, which I never normally do, and so there's actually little rough bits, and actually probably if I went that way around it might be a bit easier. So there's a few wavy lines, but that's certainly good enough for what I need. So I need to do 2 more of these because I've already done one as on top of this one. So I'll do 2 more of these, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to do the beveling and how I'm going to stick them down. Okay, so I've got the 4 shapes and they've cut out pretty nicely. Like I say, a few shaky bits, but mostly pretty good. The last one here was the best one, obviously. Practice makes perfect. And what I've done is I've done the beveling on this first section. So you can see that this is quite a shallow slope, and then at the back I've done, on the sides I've done quite a steep slope. And that will now get glued in place. And I will be putting modelling compound over this, so this is not going to be so flat and so kind of boring. I will be modelling compounding, I think, the whole thing. I just thought I'd show you how I go about doing this. This is not going to sound very nice, so I'll turn the sound off, put some music on. But basically we just come along and very carefully, and I mean carefully because it's a sharp knife this, cut that bevel down like this. Okay, so that's the 2 outer bevels. The inner bevel is done slightly differently. From the inside, hold this flat down on the table and draw your knife round again. And again, I'll put some music on because this doesn't sound very nice. And there we are. So I'll do that on the other 2, and then what I'll do is I'll glue them down. And I'll bring you back when I come to that stage. Right, these are all done now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them down using PVA. So I'll take my PVA, spread it around on the bottom nice and thin using a paintbrush, and then weight that down with my weights so that it doesn't move and so that it can dry overnight, and I'll leave that there until tomorrow. So simple as that. That's going to be, I've been staring at this project for days and unsure how to go ahead with it. And when inspiration strikes, just run with it, is what I say. And definitely inspiration has struck in this case. And I think a spooky old graveyard is the perfect thing. So once I've done this, I will look at doing some open graves, I'll do some closed graves. We'll build all that in. It's going to be a fun project, this. Look forward to bringing you along with it and seeing how well it looks when it's done. So yeah, so we'll put that on there, mark that up to the marks, and then weight it down. So I'll do the rest, and I'll bring you back tomorrow to have a look at the next steps. So it has printed successfully, but yeah, I went way overboard on the supports, as you can see. So I'm going to spend quite a bit of time now snipping these off. I've got 2 tools which I'm going to be using, and sadly I'm not going to be able to film this just because it's just going to take too long and it's going to be very, very fiddly. But basically I've got my snips and I've got a hobby knife, and what I'll be doing is removing, I've started it here, removing not close to the model. So for example, you can see here we've got 3 supports that are very close to the model. So I'm going to be very, very carefully snipping in because I don't want to damage the model, and then removing the supports. And then when I've got most of the support material away, then what I'll do is I'll come in again and do another process of removing the supports. Now this has been soaking in hot soapy water, as you can see, so it's not got any resin on it. But with
light or even medium supports, they melt off. But because I've gone overboard with heavy supports, because I was fed up with it failing, I've now got a really fiddly job to do. So I'm going to get that done. When it's finished, I will come back and show you, but it's going to take me some time. But it's going to be worth it. I've got the model. Clip this off, prime it, paint it, get it done. Well, that took me about 2 hours to remove, literally. There's the dragon. The only problem was that the tail, which is actually just there, gathered up with all the waste sprues, sheared off. That is all the supports. I clearly went a bit overboard, but it has printed okay. There's a couple of failures, but nothing that's particularly major. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to save all those supports and I'm going to make something out of it, because that's a huge amount of waste and I'm going to do something really cool with it. So I will cure this. I'm very tired now. It's past midnight. It's taken a long time. But I'm going to cure that tomorrow. I'll cure all the supports as well, and then they'll come to another project. But the good thing is the Gingerbread Dragon is a go, so we should be able to get that painted up and on the table for Christmas Day, which is what I really wanted. So I'm very pleased. Massive overkill on the supports, huge waste of resin, cost me twice as much as it should have done, but more than that, because this is the third attempt to print it. But it's done, and so yeah, that's I'll probably do the painting. So I've nearly finished cleaning it up. I'm gonna go to bed now. I'm gonna finish tidying up a little bit of marks to clean up, get it primed, and then I'll probably bring you along for the painting journey as well, because I'm right excited about this. So yeah, at least it printed, and I've got a whole load of sprue rubble that I can use for some other projects. And yeah, so there's the tail. So yeah, that's all going to be saved. I'm not going to throw that away. So yeah, recycling. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some modelling compound from Geek Gaming, from Luke, and I'm going to put this over all of the terrain. Now I've ummed and ahed a bit about this as well, about whether I'm going to do this before or after doing the walls. But I think I'm just going to do a thin skim over everything, just to give a base, and I might come back and do a little bit more. I think that might even be enough that I've put in there, because I don't want it to be a very thick layer. I just want to get the terrain in place, get the shape in place, and also start building up the warp prevention, because that's important. So I'm going to mix this in and spread this over, and then I will weight down all the edges as I did in my other warp recovery video, and that will then dry over the next 24 hours, 12, 24 hours. And then when that's done, I'll have a look and see what I'm going to do. The only thing that I am going to do, I think, is I'm going to try to avoid the middle. So I might either put the modelling compound over it and then cut it out, or I might try and avoid the middle, because I do want that to be nicely bedded in. But yeah, just a thin skim, just to, as I say, start the warp prevention, and also cover over everything that I want to have as part of this terrain piece. So yeah, I will get this done, and then let it dry. took a lot of cleaning up. I did another hour on it this morning after about 2 hours last night. As I say, as part of the cleaning up process, I managed to shear off the tail. Now I think that probably shows that there was maybe a flaw in the printing or maybe a flaw in the file, one of the two, because it sheared off absolutely clean, as you can see. Oops, finally the glue appears. So what I'm now going to do is glue the tail on, and then when that's glued I will go and prime it and paint it. Now I've got a couple of weeks to get this done, so hopefully I'll be able to. There we are, that's how we want to go it. Yeah, so hopefully I'll get it done in time. Got less than 2 weeks, but I should be able to do it. I'm actually interested in what colours I'm going to pick. I'm not totally sure, so that'll be a discovery for me. But I will bring you along, I'll show you what I'm doing, and yeah, hopefully it's going to look really nice and Rosie will love it. I've sat and stared at this for a couple of days now, finished it nice and quickly, so I've had time to think. And hopefully what I'm about to do is not going to ruin it, but it might. So what I've got is I've got the kind of reddy brown that I like quite a lot, and I'm going to make up a wash of it. So how I'm doing that is I've got some in the lid of the jar, and I'm just making a wash. So adding water, and then I'm going to apply that wash all over the stones and all over the base, and attempt to avoid getting it as much as I can onto the actual spaceship. But the idea is just to give a little bit more contrast than what I've got at the moment with the more purpley colour. As much as I love it, I just think it's a bit too saturated, or not desaturated, the colour. I need a little bit more contrast. So I'm going to go around, apply this as a wash, as you can see. It's also going to tie all the stones together to be a little bit more the same colour. And what I might then do is come along and dry brush after as well. And I think that will probably be me done on this. So yeah, sometimes you think you're done and you stare at it and stare at it and you realise that you're not. And it's up to you then, whether you do something about it or you don't. So anyway, stop rambling. I'll put this wash over. I'll bring you back when I've done, when it's dry, show what it looks like. See if I need to do more than one coat. But yeah, it shouldn't take too long to do this. And then if I do decide to do a wash or do a dry brush over the top, I'll bring you back for that as well. So yeah, let's just get this done and see if we can wrap this little thing up. Quite pleased with it, apart from it just being a bit not obvious enough to see the actual silver things. That's the problem. So I need to add a little bit more contrast. Onwards. Alright, let's open up the Khandish Warriors box, have a look and see what's inside, and get them washed up and ready to assemble. So as far as I'm aware, this isn't going to be very much of an assembly job. I haven't actually looked at these yet. You are literally seeing me look at these for the first time. So we've got some bases. It looks like I'm going to be cleaning up a few bits of sprue, little bits of flash like that, and then what I'll do is I'll chuck them in the wash, hot soapy water, let them soak, give them a scrub, and then I'll just get these painted. There's nothing to assemble. So yeah, this is going to be very, very quick. I will do the technique that I do always, which is I have a sharp knife and I have snips. So these are the two tools that I use when I'm tidying up metal models. So yes, I'll just sit and do that now. And then soapy water for a scrub. That gets rid of any mould release that might be on there, and make sure that when you're painting, your paints don't fall off, which is the most frustrating thing in the world if you don't do that. I always wash every model I paint. So yeah, give them a good scrub. It looks like there might be some backs to glue on, so I might bring you along for when I'm gluing that on. So actually, yeah, there are some flags to glue on the black backs. So yeah, I'll get these washed up and then ready to glue, and then we'll get them painted. These are now dried, so we're going to do the one bit of gluing that's going to be needed to get these working. So we're going to snip off this little base here, making sure to leave, almost snipped it in the wrong place then, making sure to leave the notch, ding, that went across the room, have to go and find that, and then that basically glues into the hole on the back. It's pretty obvious, that glues onto the hole on the back there. So a little bit of super glue, and that's going to be done. So I'm going to do that for all of the models. A little bit of super glue, Actually, oh, in this case, I'm going to put a little bit of accelerant because I actually snipped off a bit too much of the base of the back, so that will help it to bond a bit better. So a little bit of super glue accelerant, press that in, and we have our back like that. There we are. This one's going to be going directly behind him. That's better. There we are. So I will get that done on all of the others, and then prime and paint them. So yeah, pretty cool. Really easy kit to put together, and I'll bring you back when they're painted and show you what colours I used. Well, I've had something arrive today, which arrived a day early actually from Thoman. Not the microphone, not the baffle or the little pop shield, but the microphone stand. Now, I was trying to I've done a few voiceovers and I'm thinking about doing a few more, but having a stable and secure microphone has been a real struggle for me. So I'm really pleased we've got this, and hopefully in the next couple of days or weeks you'll hear some of me using this. The microphone is brilliant. In the recommendation Mondays for December, I used this and I just used the a little desk mounted clamp which wasn't very good, so this arriving today is really, really cool. So hopefully I'll be able to do a few more voiceovers and tighten up a little bit of my videos, but yeah, pretty cool. I am waiting for one more cable to arrive. When that gets here, I should be able to I'll be able to make use of this more. So yeah, a little bit of an improvement hopefully in the kit that I've got, and thank you Thoman for sending it so quickly. Highly recommended for audio supplies, by the way, Thoman. I've been a customer of theirs for about 20 years now, if not more, and they're always very good. I made quite a nice start on the Gingerbread Dragon, as you can see. Yesterday I put the base gingerbread colour across the whole thing. I've been using orange brown from Vallejo, which is 70981, and that's turned out to be quite a nice kind of light biscuity colour. I may darken it up, I may add a few more tones to it, but for a start I'm really, really pleased. I'm about to sit down to my 20 minutes for this evening, and I'm going to be focusing on this, probably putting more than 20 minutes a day in, and trying to get this done. The next thing I'm going to be doing is picking out some of the frosting. So you can see you've got a line along the back here, and a few other places that are going to be in white, which is going to be frosting, and then we've got these kind of whirly things that are multicoloured, and I'm going to go in with some quite bright colours, some reds, some yellows, some purples, and then we've got the green which is going to go on the leaves which are at the top of those. So this evening I'm going to get as far as I can before I get too tired to work. I'm going to get as much of this as I can done, so I'll probably film again at the end of the night. I meant to film yesterday when I did this, but I just forgot to bring my camera down, so I thought I'd film before painting tonight. So yeah, let's see how far I can get with it, and yeah, I'll turn the camera on again when I'm done. Well, that was very much more than 20 minutes, but I was really enjoying it. Also the first time I actually painted on a turntable, and I found that really quite convenient and nice. So anyway, as you can see, what I've done is I've painted the glossy white like I said I would, but I've also started to pick out some of the colours and some of the sweets, and I've put a bit of green onto the foliage, onto the leaves. Now the leaves are going to need a lot more work. They're not all going to be the same green, and there are berries in there as well, but yeah, I've also touched up some of the biscuit colour. It's just been a really fun evening painting odd colours. Surprisingly enjoyable doing something so different. So yeah, there we are. I reckon another good session tomorrow and I'll be really close to done, which is very, very exciting for me. I think maybe another 2 days and it'll be totally done, but let's see how much energy I have tomorrow. But yeah, I'm really enjoying painting this up. This is such fun, so different to what I normally do, and the variety is really cool, and it's good to do stuff that's not in your normal wheelhouse, as they say. This is really good fun. We've been working hard in the games room. As you can see, we've put the racks on the walls, and what I've now done is I've started to actually put some shelves up and put models on there. So you'll recognise some of these from my videos if you've watched my videos. Watching this, you probably have. You'll recognise quite a lot of this, but some of this also is from before I was making YouTube. Sorry about the contrast. The sun is streaming in behind me. It's a beautiful day here, but that doesn't make for very good videoing like this. So
yeah, it's struggling to keep up. So yeah, so anyway, I've got shelves all the way across. Quite a lot of them are empty, as you can see, which is good because that means I have lots and lots of scope for expansion. And yeah, I'm very, very pleased. It's made a big difference. Previously, a lot of things were actually stacked on top of each other, which is not really the best of ways to like store your models, and so yeah, having a good space like this to store and being able to remove a lot of the double stacking has been really, really good. So yeah, it's also going to make it easier for me to use the room and play games in here, which is what the room's for ultimately. So yeah, look at how beautiful this day is. It's just bright and it's lighting up my ASoIAF ruins very, very nicely. There we are. And now it's gone dark again. Colour management's tough. There it is, the ASoIAF ruins. Let's close out on that. Meanwhile, out in the corridor, I have managed to get these shelves all up and I've put lots of stuff on them now. There's still a bit messy. This isn't how it's going to end up in the long run. There's still a lot of miniatures and unmade kits and models and what have you just stored on here because I need to get it out of the way. When the roof is done, which I am working on very hard, like I say, I'll be able to move quite a lot of this stuff upstairs and that will make a big difference to this, and I'll be able to just store games and it will look nice and look a little bit less kind of industrial and a bit more like a living space. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased though. The underneath the lower TV stands, that's what's underneath, are just the perfect size. I've been able to fit 3 of them underneath 4 of the bookshelves, and yeah, I could technically fit another set of the bookshelves on top. There is space, but that's not going to happen because it will just look too overbearing, I think, be too much. But yeah, pretty pleased with how this is looking as well. It's nice to get things organised, yeah, the only problem is if I turn the camera and give you a little, this is what I've got to work with next. So this is all still very, very messy, but this is today's task and tomorrow's task to get this sorted out. Yeah, we're getting there. And with the work downstairs that's going on, with the workshop and my woodworking area, this means that the model railway, the layout which is going to be fitted in where all this rubbish is at the moment, may actually happen sooner rather than later. So that's pretty exciting. And over there, obviously, is Rosie's layout that she loves. And I need to get the station done, that gap, that's where the station's going to go. Need to get that done. Probably should do that before I start my own. But yeah, more progress out here, really good, just little steps. It's not just about hobbying, you also need to be able to store stuff. Yeah, made a lot of progress this week in that. So there you are, that was a week as I stand here blinking in the very bright sunshine. It really is a glorious winter's day today. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope that that's maybe inspired you to do some hobbying yourself. That's why I do this. Some of the best comments I get and some of the things that make me feel the best about doing this is when people tell me they put my videos on in the background while they're hobbying and thinking about basically like being there with you almost while you're hobbying is just wonderful. I love it. I love that idea. What a great feeling, and it flatters me to think people do that. So if you do that, let me know. Let me know in the comments. It really does make my day. So happy Christmas to everyone. I will be back next week. I know it's going to be Boxing Day. There will be a video. There's going to be a video on Christmas Eve as well. This wonderful build I've done. I'm very pleased with it. It's been planned for a year. I planned for it to do it last year and didn't get time. So yeah, I'm really pleased we've done it this year. So yeah, watch out for that. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for joining me this year, and for all of my viewers. I really appreciate all of you. It's really good to know there are people that care enough to watch these videos. That's really cool. And yeah, happy Christmas to you all. And I'll wrap up by saying, as I always do, please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.